What is going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Roach Podcast, where I discuss everything sports, politics, culture, and beyond. And this episode today is going to be strictly sports, okay? Because there has been breaking news from my Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors have acquired Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans, okay? So that's what we're going to be discussing here today. And I'm going to read you the tweet from when this broke. I just got home last night from Scotiabank Arena because we were playing the Memphis Grizzlies. And I would say sometime in the 11 o'clock hour, around 11:30, 11:45 or something like that, Shams Charania tweets, breaking, the New Orleans Pelicans have traded Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown Jr., Kelly Olynyk, one first-round pick that came from the Indiana Pacers, and one second rounder. Okay? Now, here's the reaction to the deal. There's been a lot of reaction to this deal because it's had time to settle now, not even for 24 hours, but at least 3/4 of the day so far the following day. So as of right now, to me, this is a slam dunk for the Toronto Raptors. Like this is a really, really good trade, if you ask me. You gave up Bruce Brown, who was going to walk for nothing after the season anyway. You weren't giving him another contract. You gave up on Kelly Olynyk. You said he can go to the Pelicans as well. Love you, Kelly. But you were a good trade piece here. You give up a first round pick, which came from the Indiana Pacers, which is top 4 protected, by the way. Indiana's good, so that's probably going to be in the early 20s anyway. And you gave up a second round pick here. So to me, you really didn't give up much to get the kind of player that Brandon Ingram is. He's a former All-Star. He's averaging 22, 5, and 5. Can pretty much get you 20 without even trying. Okay. 6'9", 6'10", lanky, decent defender, pretty good passer, can shoot the three, can pull up from mid-range, can hit clutch free throws. This is a slam dunk, damn it, if you ask me. Okay. Now, people are actually mad at this. Now, come on, man. You gotta be kidding. First of all, damn it. Jerry and Bobby Webster for getting this one done. You got Brandon Ingram and you didn't have to give up RJ Barrett. You didn't have to give up RJ Barrett. You didn't have to give up Pirtle. You didn't have to give up anyone in your starting unit. And then you're just adding Brandon Ingram as well. Now, some people from what I see are kind of ticked off about this because you said, oh, what about the rebuild? What about the rebuild? Seriously, what about the rebuild? The Raptors have the easiest schedule going forward this season because all the tough games are behind us. You've won like what? 8 out of the last 11 or 12 or something like that. I mean, listen, I understand that a bunch of people want Cooper Flag. I want Cooper Flag too, damn it, if I can get him. But the likelihood, okay, why unprofessional? Unprofessional for me. Get your ass on vibrate. The likelihood is that you're not going to get Cooper Flag. You're just not. Sub 10% chance. And the good thing is that you actually still have a chance. You still have a chance to get a top pick, even while trading for Brandon Ingram. And now some people are mad about Masai Ujiri making this move. How can you be mad at Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster for doing this? You bought low. You bought low on this one. You expect Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster to tank like hell and then end up with the 7th pick while holding on to Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk? Really? Does that seem like a smart thing to really do? The best thing to do is buy low. You didn't have to give up much to get him. Add him to the core pieces that you have and still have a chance to get a top 5 pick. You take the pick and you add him to what you already got. You see, a lot of people really don't watch the Raptors. They just talk. They just talk. Quickly hasn't even played the whole damn season. He hasn't played the whole season. He's played like 10, 11 games. Barnes has been out everybody's been for a bit. You cannot really judge the Raptors based on what you have seen from them this season. You really can't. And I understand. I get it. People want a guy like Cooper Flag. I do too. Believe me, I do as well. But the likelihood is you're not going to get him. And you're going to do a full rebuild. We don't know how long that's going to take. Scotty Barnes is going to be going into what, his fifth year? So what, in his fifth year and his sixth year, you just want to keep getting draft picks while we're going to waste his best years? That doesn't make any sense. Scotty Barnes is good now. Barrett's a good player now. Pirtle's good now. Grady Dick is good now. Quickly is good now. And they're young. And they're young. And now you can add a piece like Brandon Ingram to that as well. You do that. And on top of that, you're still going to be able to draft well in this draft. That is a stacked draft. You're going to be getting a good player. Listen, just do what it do when it comes to the lottery balls. But all I'm saying is there is a bunch of times where teams tank and you still don't get anywhere close to the first pick. So why the hell should we gamble and do that when the chances are that we're not going to get anywhere close to the first pick anyway? Maybe you can get a 3, maybe you can get a 4 or 5, maybe you get 1 or 2. Who knows? We don't know. But the point is, there's no point going forward with your team being ass already. Not because that they're necessarily a bad team, but people aren't healthy this season. And Brandon Ingram is probably not going to play anyway much of the season because he's injured. He's only played, I believe, 18 games this season. He's averaging 22.2 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists. He is a decent passer, 85% from the free throw line. That matters because he can make clutch free throws, 37% from 3-point range, almost 50% from the field, 46.5%. I'll keep it very specific, 46.5% from the field. But I mean, going back from 2019, 2020, 23.8 points per game, 23.8 points per game. And that's 23.8 in 2019, 2020, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Following season, 23.8 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 22 a game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 24 a game, 24.7, so closer to 25 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, 20 points, 5 and 5, 22 points, which is this season at 5 and 5 as well. The guy can play. The guy can play. And we're talking about a full rebuild. You want to tank. The hell with a full rebuild. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? First of all, you have to assume that Masai Ujiri got word from his bosses that they want a full rebuild or not. Likelihood is they don't want a full rebuild. Yes, Masai is the president, but he still has people that he has to answer to. And the likelihood is that they do not want a full rebuild. Nor do I. And I don't believe you should have to go through a full rebuild. We're not the Washington Wizards. Okay? We're just not. They're horrifically terrible. Like disgustingly terrible. We are not the Washington Wizards. We're not doing a full rebuild. Okay? The people that we have running our front office in Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are competent people. Even if they wanted to do a full rebuild, they're smart enough to the point where all of their bad moves would probably prevent us from being that bad anyway, because they're just competent in regards to the game of basketball. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And how long do you want to see this team be bad for? How long do you want to see them be bad for? You want to go into a full rebuild. How long is that going to take? You're going to waste the years of Scotty Barnes doing a full rebuild? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, seriously, come on, man. That is ridiculous. I understand and I get it. But I mentioned to you before, the likelihood of getting a guy like Cooper Flag is not likely. Can it still happen? Possibly. The percentage is low, but it is still possible. It is still possible. There is Dylan Harper. There is Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe. There's other guys there that you can still add to this Raptors core even after landing Brandon Ingram and not getting rid of much. This is a win-win situation here, folks. I need you to understand that. I need you to understand that. This is a win-win situation. And even if things don't work out, okay? My boy Javon Shepard, he mentioned this. There's a difference between assets and valuable assets. The Raptors have valuable assets. There's no reason you can't trade any of these guys. There's no reason you can't trade any of these guys. Now, likelihood is you trade for Brandon Ingram is because you know he's going to re-sign here in the offseason. I heard Paul Jones report on the radio today that a Western Conference general manager told him Toronto was one of two places that Brandon Ingram actually wanted to come to. He wanted to come here. He wanted to come here. And you already know we have a very hard time landing free agents. And I believe Brandon Ingram is a client of Clutch Sports. And I believe his agent is one of Malton's finest from, the GTA, Mike George. I could be wrong, but I hope I'm right. Mike George is from here. And that's also a good thing, man. That's also a good thing. It's good to have people who are from this city representing players, playing the league, all that kind of stuff. It's good to be affiliated around the NBA when you're from here. But listen, it's just a good situation for the Raptors organization, period, in my opinion. Now, as I mentioned, quickly, Barrett, any of these guys, Barnes, Pirtle, Brandon Ingram, great, you name it. Any one of these players at any point can be traded. These are valuable assets. Valuable assets. So stop being so gung-ho on this damn, oh, we want to rebuild. A full rebuild for what? A full rebuild for what? You want to see this team be garbage for years on end? We don't know how this thing is going to turn out in regards to a full rebuild. A rebuild is time. Time is money, folks. Owners, people who are at the top of the organization, they care about money a lot. And already, you see a bunch of empty seats at Scotiabank Arena. It's still good. It's still good. But compared to years past, and the crowd as well, come on, man. We need to put eyes back on this team. This is a young team. It's not like we just traded for Jimmy Butler or Kevin Durant or one of these older guys. No disrespect to them. Very good players still. But they're older guys. We still got a bunch of young guys on this team. Still got a bunch of young guys. And so I really, really like this deal because it still means that the Raptors have a bunch of options. They have a bunch of options. And they have RJ Barrett. They have Grady Dick to fight for that 2 spot. As of right now, it will be RJ Barrett. But there's competition there. There's competition, and that's always a good thing. Options. Okay? Options are always good. Now, we do have to re-sign Brandon Ingram at the end of the year. Just because I said he wanted to come here, just because it sounds like he's excited, that doesn't mean it's definitive. You got to re-sign him, okay? And another thing that I have to mention that I don't want to leave out is that Brandon Ingram has missed a lot of games over his career. And that is a legitimate concern. Okay. First year, Brandon Ingram played 79 games. I'm going to run through how many games he's played every season: 79, 59, 52, 62, 61, 55, 45, 64, and now 18 games. And I believe we played 50 games this season. So that is a legitimate concern. We got to get Brandon Ingram healthy. And I'm sure we can do that. He's not really going to play right now. He's getting some rest. He's getting some time. We do have Alex McKechnie, who is looked at as a wizard and a guru in regards to taking care of NBA players. So, that's his area. And we have faith in him to do that. Okay. Also, I'm hoping we have some depth, which we do. And so we're not going to have to run him into the ground at the same time. Okay. So, in regards to this trade, I really like it. And there's going to be more. Like, this is just a specific segment talking about this specific trade, but the Raptors also traded away Davion Mitchell. They ended up bringing James Wiseman in, who's also injured right now for the entire season. And so that's something I do have to talk about as well. But the next time I speak about this subject, I'm going to bring on a guest. I'm not sure. It'll either be a broadcaster, former player, or something like that, somebody in the media. But there's more. I want to speak about all these deals. Drop a bomb also for our longest tenured Raptor, Chris Boucher. Survives the trade deadline once again. Obviously, I'm extremely happy to have my boy Chris Boucher back. I love me some Chris Boucher. Works hard, coachable, and just you know what you're gonna get from Chris Boucher, night in and night out. And that's what I can respect. Whether he plays well, whether he plays bad, at the end of the day, Chris Boucher is going to play hard. Okay, folks. If you enjoyed today's topics, please take a moment to follow, subscribe, like, and rate the podcast. Your feedback is always welcome and helps me reach more listeners who are just as passionate about these topics. Don't forget to connect with me on social media. I would love to hear your thoughts. You can find me on Instagram at Mike Roach 7, on X at Mike Roach 23, on TikTok at the one Mike Roach. That's the number one Mike Roach on TikTok. And remember to check out my recent videos for even more engaging content. You can listen to me anytime on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So, folks, it is your boy Mike Roach. A lot of things have happened for trade deadline. Some other trades I'd like to speak about in regards to other teams as well, folks. So until the next time, it's your boy, and I'm out.